All right, this is Lucas G. Bianchi. This is my final research presentation project for Writing 1, and it is going to be about how can graphic novels and other visual mediums be used in college education, and what are the benefits from doing so. All right, let's get started. So a brief summary of where I'm coming from is that education have been used edu visual medias in the past, but only when we were young and our minds can comprehend images better than words. And as the schooling became more complicated, it shifted to more and more text-based study plans. But I feel like if we were to implement more complicated imagery in our more advanced learning situations, such as in college, we would expect dramatic improvement. As for the research process, it just mainly consisted of me going through multiple peer-reviewed sources found on databases, and for the why I was doing this, when I was analyzing the complete mouse of Survivor's Tale for Writing One, which was a graphic novel about the Holocaust, I ended up having much higher engagement with the text when compared to the books I analyzed in the past. So I feel like we should have more visual media in our education all around. All right, first thing to note about the research that I annotated the specific sources on the top right slide just so you can compare to the stuff at or sources at the end of the presentation. All right. For the student reception to nonfiction historical graphic novels, teachers have noted five specific benefits of reading a graphic no novel over a simple textbook. But overall, it can be described as readers were more engaged, empathetic, and had higher historical literacy when reading a nonfiction historical graphic novel than a nonfiction textbook. For the other part of research is how educational AR media, which means alternate reality, and different learning styles interact. Here you can see four identified learning styles, which is diverging, which is imaginative, assimilating based on logic and reasoning, converging, which is problem solving, and accommodating, which coming from education experiments. And here you can see the average T-score, which is basically the difference between two specific groups. In this case, the groups are a control with group, which is students learning from a textbook, and the experiment group, which is students from a learning from an AR learning on mobile experience. And as you can see, there's an overall improvement in test scores, but with more notable exceptions in diverging and accommodating learning styles. So while a visual media benefits it overall, generally those two learning styles benefit the most. As for the benefits of comics in the medical field, here in this line graph, you could see the different test scores of nursing students learning about Alzheimer's. As you can see, G1 involved most participation in visual media, while G3 involved no participation. As you can see, the more one participated in visual media, the higher their average test score began. And there are also several different medicinal comics used in the learning process, such as when just reading and creating medicinal comics, and involved these certain amount of skills improved for the medical students. And here is ways that how you can effectively introduce static visuals, which is just means just like regular pictures, anything non-animated really, into learning. So as identified as chapter 7 of learning through visual displays, there are two basic strategies. One is keep it simple, make it e so that the reader can easily read through without getting too lost, and keep it clear. Have the reader understand what are they looking at and how they should interpret it. So, the implications of this research is that effectively inserting any sort of visual media in the curriculum will result in an overall improvement in college students' performance and engagement. And so, why is this resulting? significant is that a better performance will involve better grades overall and a better educated population if grades in general increase. And for what now, like any undetermined conclusions, like is there any actual difference in the effectiveness of different visual media, such as like a graphic novel versus like a educational movie, like you see of historical events, like which one is more effective to certain learning styles? And how can graphic novels be used to completely replace textbooks in certain parts of academia, particularly in the social studies? And for future research ideas, which is like which academic subject improves the most when primarily using visual imagery? Second one is what kind of visual mediums are different groups most receptive to explain like what type of certain people like neurodivergence or backgrounds are generally more effective. And the third one is like the evolution of the use of visual media in education. All right. Thank you for listening. I know this was extremely confusing, but I hope I served this pretty well. Here are my sources. I will leave you about 10 seconds. And thank you for watching.